Welcome back to the deep dive. Just before the break, we were really getting into Kingsley Okonkwo's book, When Am I Ready?, focusing on all those crucial elements of personal readiness for marriage.
We covered quite a bit perspective, being informed, maturity in different areas, knowing your purpose, and being single in that sense of being complete in yourself.
Exactly. So now let's bridge that to the next essential piece. How do you evaluate your readiness with someone else? Because marriage isn't a solo act.
No, it definitely isn't. And this is where the rubber meets the road, relationally speaking. You've done the internal work, hopefully, and now you need to see how you actually connect and align with a potential partner.
Right. And picking up on that idea we talked about, courtship is for interview, not intercourse. Okonkwo really sees this dating or courtship period as the key time for evaluation. So let's start with emotional compatibility. How can you practically test that during courtship? What are some things to look for?
Well, watching how your partner handles the tough stuff is huge. Stress, disagreements, disappointments. How do they react? Do you see those signs of maturity we discussed, like self-control, balance? Or do they lash out, shut down, blame?
So observing their real-time reactions.
Yes. And he also suggests talking about past relationships, not digging for dirt, but seeing if they can take responsibility, if they seem to have genuinely healed and learned.
That's a good indicator of emotional growth. What about more direct ways?
Definitely engaging in those open, honest talks about feelings, fears, insecurities. Is there empathy? Does your partner try to understand even if they don't fully get it? And importantly, how do they handle forgiveness? Can they let things go or do they hold on to grudges? That's massive for long-term health.
Holding on to resentment is like poison in a relationship. Okay, let's shift to spiritual compatibility, obviously important for Okonkwo. How do you assess that beyond just, say, going to the same church?
Well, first, are your core beliefs and values actually aligned? Do you share a similar understanding of and commitment to your faith, to God? And look beyond Sunday morning, how does their faith show up in their daily choices, their interactions, their motivations?
So seeing it in action.
Right. Praying together can be really insightful. Discussing spiritual things, do you connect on that level? Do you approach things similarly? He also suggests seeking counsel together from trusted spiritual mentors. Are you both willing to listen and learn?
That openness to guidance seems key.
It is. And discussing your vision, how will faith be part of your marriage, your family? Are you on the same page there? Weaving those spiritual threads together intentionally.
Okay, so we've got emotional and spiritual. Now let's get practical. Day-to-day life compatibility. What should you look at there?
Communication is huge. Can you actually talk effectively? Do you listen to each other?
Yeah.
How do you handle conflict when it inevitably comes up? Remember those potential differences between men and women in communication styles I mentioned earlier?
Yeah, being aware of those.
And then there's money.
Yeah.
You absolutely have to have open talks about finances, spending habits, saving goals, debt. Are your general approaches compatible? Or is this going to be a major battleground?
Getting aligned on finances early is so crucial. What else fits under practical?
Just general lifestyle stuff,
Yeah.
expectations for daily routines, work-life balance, family involvement, social life. How do they treat their family and friends? That tells you a lot.
Good point. How they treat others often reflects their character.
Definitely. And spend time in different environments. See them with their friends, with your family, maybe doing something challenging. How do they behave? How do you function together in various real-life scenarios?
You want the full picture, not just the best behavior version. Okay, this leads to a tricky but vital question. How do you tell the difference between a genuine red flag, a real warning sign about the person or relationship, and your own stuff, your personal fears or insecurities popping up? How do you know which is which?
That is such an important distinction to make. Red flags are usually more objective patterns. Things like consistent disrespect, controlling behavior, manipulation, dishonesty, lack of integrity, refusing to take responsibility, substance abuse issues, deep-seated anger or bitterness.
Things that are actively harmful or destructive.
Exactly. Or fundamental clashes in core values, faith, family goals, finances, and consistently ignoring your boundaries. Those are generally objective warning signs.
Okay, so what about when it might be us?
Yeah.
Our own baggage.
Right. Personal fears or insecurities are more internal, more subjective. Maybe you tend to overthink everything or assume the worst because of past hurts. Fear of abandonment, fear of rejection, making you read into things. Unrealistic expectations of a perfect partner. Difficulty trusting. Needing constant reassurance. That might be more about your internal landscape.
So objective patterns versus subjective feelings. How can you actually sort it out when you're in the middle of it?
It's tough, but a few things can help. One, get outside perspective,
Hmm.
talk to trusted friends, mentors, family. Do they see the same concerning things you do, or do they think you might be overreacting?
So a reality check.
Exactly. Also, look for patterns, not just one-off incidents. Is this a consistent behavior? And be really honest with yourself about your own triggers. Are you maybe projecting something from your past onto this person?
That requires some serious self-awareness.
It really does. And try talking about it openly with your partner. How do they respond? Are they defensive, dismissive, or are they willing to listen, understand your concern, and work on it? Their reaction tells you a lot.
Hmm.
Ultimately, ask yourself, does this issue consistently violate my core values? Does it create a pattern that negatively impacts my well-being? If yes, it's more likely a red flag.
That's incredibly helpful for navigating those confusing feelings.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say you're in a serious relationship, courtship, maybe engaged. What premarital habits can couples start building now to set themselves up for a more mature, healthy marriage? What should they be practicing?
Oh, definitely practicing communication skills, active listening, really hearing each other, expressing needs respectfully, learning healthy conflict resolution, focusing on solving the problem together, not winning the argument or blaming, understanding each other's viewpoint.
Less arguing, more problem solving.
Exactly. And practicing forgiveness for small things, let them go quickly. For bigger hurts, learn how to actually work through them together. Don't let resentment build up. Make quality time a priority. Nurture the connection beyond just planning and logistics. If you're heading towards marriage, start talking about and even practicing how you'll share responsibilities, chores, finances, etc.
Getting those practical foundations laid early.
Yes. On the financial side, start developing a basic shared understanding of your goals and how you'll manage money. Keep growing spiritually together. Pray, study, whatever that looks like for you. Learn to set and respect personal boundaries with each other.
Boundaries are so important for healthy interdependence.
They really are. And finally, seriously, consider premarital counseling. A good counselor can help you navigate potential challenges, build skills, and strengthen your foundation before you say, I do.
It sounds like investing in these habits before marriage is like putting savings in the bank for the relationship's future.
That's a great way to put it. You're building relational capital, developing the skills and resilience you'll need for the long haul.
This entire discussion, drawing from Kingsley Okonkwo's When Am I Ready, has been so rich. We've really dug into personal readiness, looking at our perspective, our knowledge, our maturity across different areas, our purpose, our sense of wholeness.
And then bridging that to evaluating readiness with someone, assessing compatibility, emotional, spiritual, practical, learning to spot red flags versus our own insecurities, and proactively building those healthy premarital habits.
The big takeaway for you listening is that preparing for marriage is, well, it's a significant undertaking.
Yeah.
It deserves this kind of careful thought, both about yourself and about your potential partnership.
It's not about rushing. It's about being intentional, preparing yourself well, and making a wise, informed choice about building a life with someone.
So here's a final thought to leave you with as you reflect on all this. Thinking about everything we've discussed today, what's maybe one specific area of readiness, whether personal or relational, that you feel you need to focus on most right now in your own life? Just identifying that one next step can be incredibly powerful.
A great place to start.
Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive today.